Hello, and welcome to the Irish Guys podcast.
I'm going to dive in straight away. You mouthed at me for saying hello at the start of it, and the first intro that you do, Vesty, you say hello, so...
You didn't even vary it, you didn't even try to make it your own.
No.
You want to start from scratch?
Start again.
No, we're leaving it at that.
Oh, we're going straight ahead. We see. I thought we'd keep it as, that's our intro.
Oh, like real uniform, real fluid.
Oh, aye. Oh, we're sticking to, strict principles here. We're sticking with, hello, and welcome to the Irish Guys podcast.
I don't know. I think if
You and Kirby busted the stitches laughing when I said hello the other night, and...
You didn't appreciate it.
I'm happy with it.
Davey didn't appreciate it, Tom. So tonight is like a sort of special wee podcast. It's not going to be too long. It's going to be short and brief. If any have been listening to our podcast this last few weeks, it's mainly been about talking about nerdy things, mainly American football and Premier League football. So we do a bit of a variety of things. Between the four of us, me, Tom is here.
Hey.
Dave is here.
Hello.
Big Dev is not here tonight. But we all have a fairly even respect for each of the things that we talk about. But
this is a wee bit.
There's a wee bit of a switch up, but this is mainly going to be focusing on what Dave has to say. And
because neither me or you, Vesty, have a clue what's going on.
No, I haven't a notion. All I know is that
we're here for the colour commentary.
We are. We're the glamour. All we know is that there's going to be a fight sometime this week.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday, yeah.
Whatever date that is in February.
So
we just finished recording one there, so that's why the three of us are in here. But yeah, we decided to do sort of general, mainly me. Out of all four of us, I kind of like a bit of the combat sports sort of more than anybody else. I know, Tom, you dive into the wee touch.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I've in the past definitely enjoyed boxing, MMA. I definitely would tend to lean more towards the boxing because I think it's the better sport.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really all for MMA except for like we just literally talked off air. Maybe the big fights, Conor McGregor's and whatnot.
Yeah.
Even though I hate Conor McGregor,
Hey-o.
I'm gonna take a lot of flack for that there.
Yeah.
No, this was I just wanted to do something that's going to be a wee short and sweet one here. Just a wee something to talk about Fury Wilder this weekend.
Wilder this weekend. So
so we've tried to maybe let Tom and Vesty do some sort of like interview style kind of thing. We're sort of winging it here. It's just going to be a wee small 15 minutes or something to talk about the big fight.
there's been a lot of hype about this, hasn't there? Like, I mean, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. It's pretty big in the media. And these two guys have a bit of history before, haven't they?
Yes, well, they have fought before. They're two of the best heavyweights at the minute. Obviously there's Anthony Joshua, there's Tyson Fury, and there's Deontay Wilder. They've all got their sort of their pluses and their minuses. They've been avoided. Well, what happens in boxing really is like you will fight your way up. You'll fight sort of career journeymen, sort of, and then you will get tested at a point. But that could be 20 fights deep in boxing. They kind of hold you off, build you up. You'll fight a lot of fights before you ever really
get big.
They hold off because they want to build you up as a pay-per-view superstar and then give you your title shots and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is maybe where Tyson Fury differs a little. He has had less fights than a lot of these fellas. Deontay Wilder's up in the 40s for his fights.
Yeah, just seen there. He's had I think 42, 43.
Yeah.
Because it's weird with boxing. I don't really get deep into it, but obviously if it's floating around the sports news, I always keep a wee eye on it. But I mean, it's kind of right what you're saying. Like, these boxers be boxing sort of maybe however many fights they are, and then obviously they get to that stage where they're pay-per-view, whatever. I mean, I remember Tony Bellew coming through, and like Tony Bellew, there was like a lot of hype about him maybe 5-6 years ago.
Big Sean Purvis's mate.
Her mate Sean Purvis, him and Tony's big mates from Liverpool.
Aye.
But I remember him coming through, like he was sort of like the new kid on the scene. He was the new boxer all of a sudden. But and then obviously not so long ago, he considered retirement, or he is.
Oh, he's retired.
He has retired. So it just goes to show, like, whenever they do make it big, they're not always there for that long.
No, they're not always that young. Deontay Wilder, I think he's maybe 34, 35 now. Tyson Fury's in his 30s also. They're two good fighters. It's just I just wanted to do a wee talk about it. We're trying to keep on top of sort of current sporting events. We'll do a lot of historical topics and stuff like that, and then we'll sort of try and keep on top. But as sort of I'd be the main person that likes the combat sports, I just thought we'd do something small and quick. But yeah, they fought each other recently. It's been kind of.
I see there's a bit of a gap in time between these fights, like 2018 to this year now.
Yeah, well, they've both had, Deontay fought Luis Ortiz there recently, so we had a fight in between. The thing is with the heavyweight division is that the one problem with boxing that anybody that's listening as a boxing fan knows is there's too many commissions. There's multiple commissions. They run and fund their own belts, so you can have multiple title holders in every division. There's too many titles, and unlike the UFC or MMA has one title per weight class, and that's the be all end all. You can have 4, 5
in
titles
the same weight
in
class.
the same weight class.
That just sounds really confusing.
Oh, it's totally confusing. There's multiple different commissions. There's the WBO, the WBC, the IBF. There's multiple commissions. They all have their own belts. They will all call themselves world champions. And what happened was basically anybody that follows boxing will know Tyson Fury unified the division a few years ago, beating one of the Klitschko's. But after that, he kind of went off the rails a touch, did Tyson. He went drinking,
He
a lot
packed
of
on
partying.
serious weight, and then he lost a serious amount of weight, didn't he?
So yeah, he got suspended obviously in the midst of all this, and he put on an absolute ton of weight. I think he was nearly 30 stone.
Yeah, I seen pictures. He was a fat dude, like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he had a lot of mental health issues and stuff like that there. But in his absence, Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua sort of came to the fore in the heavyweight division. Two good boxers in their own right, obviously. Anthony Joshua's from Britain. Deontay Wilder, obviously, on the other side of the pond, is from the United States. Deontay Wilder is an absolute knockout artist. He has got the most power I have, maybe for a man of his. He's quite tall. I think he's about 6'7", but for a man of his sort of build, he's not.
What sort of fighting stance is he? Is he a southpaw or?
Oh, he's orthodox, so he fights orthodox, but he's got a very weird. He's not a natural. This is gonna be. There'll be better people to describe this, more boxing aficionados, but his style's very odd. He doesn't fight nearly like a seasoned boxer, but it's weird because he got into boxing late. I think he only got into boxing as like professional boxing at 20. He actually got into it because he has a daughter with spina bifida, and he got in because he needed the money. Basically, he fought in the Olympics.
Oh, so he's fighting with like a real cause.
Yeah. Oh, he's a real cool dude. Like,
Yeah,
Deontay Wilder.
that's pretty cool.
He got into boxing kind of late. But his stance is quite unorthodox. It's quite wide. He sort of fights with his hands down. But he's a complete knockout machine. There's been sort of talk throughout his career of when he fights, a boxing purist, air quotes, they'll school him in boxing because his style is quite unorthodox. It's quite wild. But he's fought seasoned boxers like Ortiz and stuff and has knocked them out.
It almost sounds to me, the way you're just describing like his fighting stance, it sounds like he leaves himself almost open to like most attacks.
Yeah. He fights with his hands quite low.
And yet he's somehow able to have the record that he has.
Oh, that's the thing. It's like a death touch. I mean, it's just like it's Tyson level, or if not more. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. When he touches you, when he touches your chin, men go down and they stay down. They go out. He's an insane power puncher. And then if they do get back up with his wild, he swings for the fences. It's like no harm to the crack. It's actually like watching somebody fight when he knows that he's hurt someone. It's like watching a fight when you were in school. It's that sort of head down and swings for the fences until he clips again.
Just a unorganized brawl.
Oh yeah. But then it hits again, and it's curtains for most boxers. Tyson Fury is the exact opposite. Tyson Fury is a boxing purist. Obviously Tyson Fury is a traveler. They're brought up in a fighting culture. A lot of them box, and Tyson is a boxing purist. He has got a style that it's like herky jerky. His head movement is unbelievable.
Yeah, I've seen footage of his fights. Just that ability to just dodge, weave out of the way of like lightning fast punches. It's incredible. Legit, he is a reason to watch the sport.
I know they're an awful in that class, particularly heavyweights. They are, big physical men. They're big guys, but. There's something about Fury that's more intimidating,
I think it's that background. I hate to go in on it, but it is, as you said, Dave, he's a traveler.
Mm-hmm.
They literally are brought up that way. It's
Yep.
just bred into them. They're just natural born fighters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably what's enabled him to reach the height of his success.
Yeah. The weird thing is about it then is sort of more so that he wouldn't be considered a sort of knockout artist, even though he's got that sort of sort of reputation with the travelers and things like that. He wouldn't. He's a pure boxer. His movement is unbelievable. His head movement, his hand movement, even you don't really know when he's going to punch, when he's not going to punch. He's got good footwork. He's very hard to hit. He's 6'9". He's a long, rangy fighter.
Yeah.
He's
an impressive specimen.
Yeah. He obviously had this couple of years out of the sport. He lost all the weight. He had two or three fights, sort of tune-up fights against sort of no-name boxers, and he won both of them, and then went straight in, because what was happening at this time and what happens in boxing is posturing between sides of teams, your promoters and things that will not get the payday they want. They will stall the fight between the big guy and the big guy so that the payday becomes more and more and more until the point where then they have to 100% have to fight. So this was what was going on when Tyson was out of the ring between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Both sides will always say that they put forward the fight and offered this amount of money and there was this agreement and that agreement. They were stalling. They were stalling for the big payday, and that's exactly what was going on. Tyson came back, and Tyson's very no nonsense, and came back and was like 3 fights, 3 small, not even 12 rounders, like 6 rounders and stuff, tune up fights. Was like, I'll fight Deontay Wilder right now. So we went in his first proper fight back, and he won that fight in my opinion. I watched the fight earlier today, just a recap, just to sort of, I knew I was going to be talking about it tonight, so I rewatched the fight earlier today, and boxing's littered with controversy as well at times, but they fought, and it was a split decision draw, which was absolutely insane in my opinion, because I rewatched it today and scored it myself. It actually ended up being quite similar to what some of the co-commentators scored it. I scored the fight 115-111 Fury. I only think that Deontay Wilder won about 3 rounds. 2 of them rounds he had knockdowns in. So the way boxing scoring works is, if you win the round, you win at 10-9. If you lose the round with a knockdown, it's 10-8. Right. I think that Deontay won the second, and I think that he won the 2 rounds, the 9th and the 12th, obviously. That he knocked Tyson Fury down in. The fight was completely dominated by Fury. From about the 3rd round on, I think, right up till the 8th round, to the end of the 8th round, Deontay couldn't hit Fury. He couldn't land. Deontay sort of saves himself and does try and look for the big knockout, But Fury's hard to hit, and Deontay was struggling big time. Yeah. He knocked him down in the 9th, did Deontay. But a theme that I think that happened in this fight, the 2 rounds that Deontay did knock him down in, I think Tyson did the better work. Tyson did get knocked down, but he got back up, and he outworked him in the 9th round. Definitely, he landed big shots after he got knocked down. He didn't get knocked down really hard. It wasn't a hard knockdown, but he did better work in that 9th round. And then for 2 men, obviously, that don't follow boxing as much if you want to. It's on BT Sport. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, we're gonna have to probably check this out.
Yeah. The 12th round of boxing is of this fight is one of the best 12th rounds you'll watch in boxing ever. It was absolutely fantastic. For about 30, it's obviously 3-minute rounds. Tyson was doing quite well, and then, as everybody was saying, Deontay needs to knock him out to win this fight, which I thought, obviously, as well, with the way that I scored it. Deontay landed. He landed a right and a left, and it looked like Tyson Fury was dead. And I mean dead. He was flat on his back, his eyes had rolled back in his head, and at around about the 8 count, he got up.
Right.
The shock on Deontay Wilder's face standing in the corner watching him get up is unbelievable.
This almost sounds wrestling like.
So
it sounds like Taker, rising up.
You see him laying flat on your back, and there's some refs would have waved that off. Now, I will give credit to the ref. There's been some, Deontay's camp has sort of said that he counted slow. He counted fast. Usually they go with a 4 count. By the time they usually tell like the opponent to go stand in the neutral corner. Then when they come over to the guy that's on the deck, they'll start at 4, so it'll be 4, 5. He gets to 8 and he does slow a wee touch because he sees him moving.
Yeah.
The ref, it's like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He does slow a touch. But Tyson gets up. He gives him a chance to get up, which is ridiculous. Obviously, what happens after that is the Deontay Wilder onslaught. He comes swinging for the fences. He's looking to stop him. He lands a few times. This is in around the 2 minute to minute and a half mark left in the fight, and he lands a couple of times. Fury then bobs and moves. He seems to have his legs back under him, and then he catches Deontay with a punch, on a sort of counter.
Yeah.
I think it's a counter left he maybe hits him with, maybe counter right. I can't really remember, and sort of stuns him, drops him back. Deontay's then on the back foot. Fury has dropped his hands behind his back. He's goading him on, like, come and hit me. He puts his gloves behind his back. It's an insane last round of boxing. I highly recommend the pair of you watch it at some point.
That sounds almost like a scene out of a film.
Yeah.
From maybe even the Rocky series.
Yeah. He goads him on, and again, like in the 9th round, Tyson finishes the round better, stunning Deontay, and I know that he will lose the round because of the knockdown, but I'd nearly say it was like a 9-9 round. Now, in my own scoring, I put it down as a 10-8 round, which is standard for a knockdown round for Deontay Wilder. So it comes to the decision, and there's 3 judges. There's a Mexican judge, a Canadian judge, and an English judge. They work at a split decision. Now, there's some contention around this. The Canadian judge scores at 114-110, so similar to what I would have scored it. The Mexican judge, now I have no idea. There's plenty of criticism. Recently, Joe Rogan was criticizing judges at a recent UFC event for one, not watching the fight, and the Mexican judge scored a 115-111 Wilder. So I have no idea what fight he was watching. And then,
so he was in favor of Wilder rather than...
Yeah, he scored it the exact way I scored it, but in favor of Wilder, which made no sense. He didn't win that many rounds. There's a couple. I can see there's always a few rounds at the start. The first 3 rounds of a fight are hard to score because not a lot happens, and it's sort of maybe it can go either way a wee touch. But I still think that Fury won the opening rounds, or most of them. I think Deontay maybe won the second. And then the English judge scored it a draw, 113. So it was ruled a split decision draw.
Right.
They're obviously going to fight again. I think you can nearly tell who wins a fight by the reaction of the boxers afterwards. Fury was celebrating, Wilder wasn't. Wilder sort of, I think, thought, I've lost here by their reaction. He got away, but there's been plenty of dodgy decisions in boxing matches and controversial draws of that nature that maybe would be encouraged then to lead into a rematch, obviously.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it almost sounds like they were like, feeding this towards, like, bringing on another
There's been
fight.
a few of that recently, like there's a Canelo Gennady Golovkin fight, which there's been a couple of contentious scorecards, should we say, in them fights. But yeah, it's the big fight this weekend leading into the rematch. It's sort of the power puncher versus the boxer. It'll be really interesting to see what way this fight goes. I'm intrigued by it. I can't wait for it. Just to see what way. I think the one thing that is a big thing here is that, like, they've now fought each other for 12 rounds. They know what each other's like. I think that Deontay had a very hard time figuring out. Tyson Fury's an awkward boxer. He makes it real awkward for you. His movement and the way he boxes, and it's hard to describe. It's his head movement, his feints. He's very hard to hit, and I think he's very hard to time more than anything. Deontay didn't land that many clean shots, and actually a lot of the fight, Tyson made him look real bad with some awful misses. But what Deontay has showed is he refought Luis Ortiz there recently and knocked him out in stunning fashion, which was actually probably the hardest fight of Deontay's career up and until the Tyson fight. He fought him prior to Tyson the first time, and he showed an ability to learn and change and knocked Ortiz out in devastating fashion there recently. So it'll be interesting. I think that's going to be where this fight's won and lost, is that it'll be who's learnt more. Obviously, Tyson won the fight, I think, very clearly, but was also insanely close to losing it in the last round with that crazy knockdown. Deontay maybe has now a better feel for timing and Fury's style. So I think they're both brilliant boxers, and it'll be interesting to see where they go down the line with obviously Anthony Joshua and sort of his sort of falter in his career there with his sort of Andy Ruiz loss. But I'm very excited for this fight, and it's got me buzzing. Like, I like to see these two. I really like Tyson Fury. I actually really like Deontay Wilder too. But it's just a nice. They always say like styles make matchups. Styles make fights. Yeah. And it is the big power puncher versus the sort of boxing purist. And I think it'll be who's learnt more from the first fight that'll maybe come out on top in this one.
So I don't know. I guess from my perspective on it, it just looks like Fury's just almost like a cheat code. It's like you don't really know how you can beat him. Like, it's just...
He's hard to hit.
Yeah.
He's really hard to hit.
He's just like a very deceptive guy. You don't know what way he's going to work you or whatever, you know. But not to say that, you know, Wilder's a pretty daunting character as well. Like,
that's the thing. Wilder needs one shot. It took him 12 rounds to really connect with Tyson, and he was seconds away from winning the fight, even though Tyson sort of jabbed his face off. That's probably Tyson's biggest weapon. His jab's unbelievable, but he was very close to losing it.
It sounds to me like this fight, the way it's coming off, it sounds like there's no clear-cut favourite as such. It sounds like either man really can take the win.
Yeah.
Where was the fight played last time? In
Staples.
And the same again this time?
I think it's in Vegas. That's a good question.
A lot of these big fights seem to be held in the likes of Vegas and stuff. It just seems to be the city where this sort of stuff goes down, even with the UFC.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, there's
seems to be their playground.
There's like tax laws in Nevada and stuff, gambling and casinos and stuff. So that's where they make their money.
Yeah.
But that's sort of it, fellas. I just wanted to do a wee something short. We're 20 minutes already. That felt like 15.
So what's I'll just put you in your spot. What's your prediction going to be for the winner?
That's really difficult, boy. That's real difficult. I don't know. I think Tyson can do it. But then again, everything goes out the window. Deontay needs to land one punch and it's all over. I think that it could be tighter. That was because I think that Deontay has shown the ability to learn, and he really improved in his second fight with Ortiz. I think he'll maybe have a better sort of for timing and things of that nature. You know, he'll be better. He'll maybe time his punches a bit better this time against Tyson Fury, because Tyson is hard to work out, but he's had a 12-round fight with him, so he knows what he's getting in for. I think that his style kind of threw him off a wee touch, especially in the medium rounds from about 3 to about 8. He wasn't landing well at all, so it could be tighter that way. It could be a better, you know, closer on the scorecards in my opinion. But obviously it was a split decision draw. But it could be tighter that way, and if it's tighter that way, it could maybe land more punches. If he lands more punches, it'd be more likely that Deontay will stop him. But again, that doesn't say that Tyson couldn't learn, and maybe, you know, and we'll have to put it out there too. Tyson fought that fight, coming back off fighting 3 tune-up fights, off, you know, a 2.5 year absence. So
that's pretty impressive.
Tyson has said, you didn't fight the best Tyson Fury last time. Tyson's a brilliant talker, like. Yeah. You know, you fought my first pro fight back, so I'm only going to get better. I fought the best Deontay Wilder. Yeah. You know, you didn't fight the best Tyson Fury.
Mind games, like.
He seems to be very Conor McGregor-like in that sort of respect.
He's
got that showmanship, you know, that sort of...
You have to sell a fight. The thing is, too, is like they all talk crap about each other all the time, but like the thing is, I think about this, which is nice too, Deontay and Tyson get on quite well.
There's a mutual respect there.
You can tell they get on, you know, even outside it and stuff. Like he was slagging in the build up. The slagging has started again, obviously, because they have to sell the fight.
It's all business at the end of the day. Business.
It's WWE. It's all about selling.
Yeah, exactly. You got to sell tickets. You got to put asses in seats.
But it'll be interesting to see. They're both good fighters. I think they actually really do both like each other. You know, they're both actually quite family oriented and very down to earth sound men.
That almost makes this fight seem even better. You know, the fact that they've got that sort of like almost like friendship / rivalry. They don't want to be bested by the other, but at the same time, they have mutual respect.
Sometimes boxing goes on and there's like they honestly don't like each other. Then there's some times where it's like they don't like each other for the cameras. But this the way they kind of carry on is more like, the way you would insult your mates sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Like it's near, the way you would say.
Just a bit of back and forth.
It is a bit of back and forth, and they do kind of insult each other that way. But I'm looking forward to it. But that's all we really need to talk about tonight.
Fair enough. Well, that was a good pitch. So I'll probably try and tune in for myself if I can get the chance this weekend.
Aye.
So
yeah, it's supposed to be a good way to jump into the sport, after years of not watching it.
But that rounds us off on this.
Just a wee swift one.
A wee swift one, a wee short episode this week. So if anybody hasn't listened, we also do other bits.
Anybody that's a real boxing aficionado will tell me that I've absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, and all your points made were completely wrong.
Well, I mean, you know more than us two, and we're just two clueless idiots sitting in the corner here, just nodding our heads.
Well, maybe I'm somewhere in the middle then, but thanks very much for listening anyway.
Aye, so if you haven't already listened to any of our podcasts, we also do American sports, as I said at the start of the show, and Premier League and nerdy stuff as well, like takes on movies, things like that. So
we'll maybe put this one in. As I said, like I want to do this one a wee bit more, but it'll maybe just be sort of bigger fights and things.
We could even discuss this on air. We could almost and if people want it, you can comment or even throw us a little bit of input. We could do small wee short bonus episodes like this, maybe every week, every 2 weeks. Yeah. Just as a little
something that we're interested in.
Just a little offshoot on a small topic that we just want to discuss, like the likes of Dave. He loves the boxing. We have no idea, but we're more than happy to chime in and participate in that.
We're gonna try and as I say, sports probably gonna be a big topic that we're gonna cover for most of these things. So you kind of want to hit for likes and views.
We want to tick all the boxes.
And if you want to reach out to us, there's also we're on Twitter, the Irish Guys Podcast. We're on Twitter. We're also on Instagram as well. Yep. You can listen to these podcasts obviously on YouTube, and we're hoping to get on Spotify shortly and iHeartRadio, and you can also listen to us on Podbean. Yep. So there's plenty of ways you can catch us and listen to us, and but no, we'll round off here now anyway, and
cheers for doing that for me, lads.
Talking
a bit of boxing.
No problem, that was pretty fun.
No worries, but you're right.
Right.
Say good luck, Dave and Tom.
Very vesty with a round out,
Absolutely round it out.
This is a first. Well done on your first,
hostish kind of thing.
Thanks, lads. How do you get on?
You did pretty well.
Right, I'll say the goodbye, lads.
Alright, you saying goodbye?
Signing off.
Good luck now.
Cheers.
Good luck.